Welcome back to another review. Mike and I are here to talk about The Northman today that just came out this weekend, and we have some thoughts for you guys. Big thoughts, spicy thoughts. Mike, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. I'm hyped to talk about this, and let's hear what your enormous, huge thoughts are about The Northman.
I don't like how you introduced any of that, first of all. Dude, so my expectations, I watched the first trailer for this movie and I remember going, cool, so Hollywood's doing Vikings now. Awesome. And then I was like, I really like the show The Last Kingdom. I was like, how's it going to compare to that? And so I had low expectations for this movie, but I had a high bar set of what I think how Vikings should be portrayed in movies and film and all that stuff like that. And the movie started out and I was like, okay, this seems pretty generic, like what I thought it was going to be. And it only took about 4 minutes before I was like, oh, never mind, because holy crap, this movie is something else. Just what the opening is like, just the first act of this movie, I could have lived with and been happy with the movie being like that. These are not like your mama's Vikings. They're not clean cut. They're not chill, calm. Like, I mean, they're not savage. They don't make them like wild savages, but I mean, they straight up embrace the culture. Yeah. There's a scene in this where they straight up show the berserker, like the where the legends of werewolves and stuff came from. Like they show these like berserkers and they're like hyping themselves up and chanting and growling and howling. And like, dude, it is legit. The action in this movie is amazing. Dude, I had such a great time. And then the movie kind of kicks into another gear in the second act and goes in a direction I didn't expect when it comes to like the gods and the mysticism and some of the ritualism stuff. Dude, I was extreme. The second act caught me off guard completely, and by the conclusion of this movie I was like, oh my gosh, this is easily one of my favorite Viking movies ever made, and it's definitely in my top 3, if not it may stay in the spot of my favorite movie of this year so far. It is so good. Oh my gosh, dude.
This movie is definitely like at the top for me for this year so far, and it's going to be very hard for anybody to beat this movie, I think, for me, especially someone who just like I freaking love like Viking history, Viking mythology, all of that type of stuff. Like it's something that I am kind of obsessive about. And
I don't believe
you. Yeah, exactly. I I definitely don't have like a Viking armoring on or anything like that. but yeah, so like when I was obviously like going to be very critical about what they were going to do with this movie, especially coming from Hollywood. But I was interested in what I was shown in the trailer, but I wouldn't say that the trailers made me super hyped for the film necessarily. So I was going in a little bit skeptical about it. Obviously, Robert Eggers, he's made some very unique films in the past, like The Lighthouse was fantastic. So I had a little bit of faith in him because of that, but I'm totally with you. Like the first act of this film, I was like, okay, I can dig this. Like it's cool. In some ways it still feels, you got everything that you would expect from a Viking movie in the first act. I would say, like you had like, you saw their ships, you saw the way of life, you saw them in battle and everything else, and just kind of the culture, and it really set the stage for just getting you immersed into their world in a lot of ways. And then after that, when you get to like the second act, the story completely flips, and it flips in a good way, and it completely just immerses you into this completely separate type of story that's going on, and it takes you on this journey and it gets very personal and very dramatic and everything else. And it was awesome to see that, because I think it's really cool that they made a Viking film that was a lot more drama heavy instead of action heavy, and I thought that was really cool. So
well, I was gonna say, I've heard people describe this, and you were the first person I heard say this, but they described it as like Viking Hamlet.
Yeah.
And I agree with that assessment, because it is. There's definitely a parallel between this movie and Hamlet, and there is a Shakespearean vibe to it as far as how the story structure, act, and everything has. But when I say Viking Hamlet, that is too simple of a concept, because it's the execution that made this movie work so well. There were scenes in this movie that I didn't expect to happen that are so like, they're so surreal, but they're so badass at the same time. And also, it's all like, it's not just that, but it's also the acting. Like, the acting in this movie is top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a personal thing. My least favorite character probably in the whole movie was Nicole Kidman's character, but there's a reason for it, and she earns me not liking her character. It's not because she did a bad job.
Right.
Everybody did a phenomenal job in this movie. And I will say this too. When they said, "Oh, Alexander Skarsgård," and I was like, "Okay, well, the Skarsgård guys, they're pretty dope. I mean, they do some really cool stuff. You got Pennywise and stuff. Like, the brothers have been doing work in Hollywood." Alexander Skarsgård is not just some jacked, like, hot guy in this movie. He is a badass, and he owns this role, like, so much. Like, he owns this freaking role. Anna Taylor-Joy, she was another person I was like, oh, they're just casting her and everything now. No, she owns it as this character. She's awesome, and like, the way she's portrayed in this, she just gets better as the movie goes on. Yeah. So
I loved how much Alexander Skarsgård got into the role for this film. Like, dude, he was so into it, and I just loved watching him just completely eat up the scenes. It was great. So that was really cool. And I mean, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I love how, as the film progresses, it continues to get more and more. It dives deeper into the mythologies of Norse culture and stuff as well, and it's really cool how they did that. So it's really, really cool. They brought a great balance to that in the film and stuff as well. So
100%, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I really don't have any complaints about this film. I really don't. Everything was great about it. So
what do you think that what's your suggestion? What is your recommendation for this film?
I absolutely think that everyone should go check it out in theaters. I think it is absolutely worth it. I think this is a film that is totally worth supporting. There's nothing woke about it. There's nothing that you have to worry about that. You're going to get a fantastic story. The quality of the film is top notch. The acting is great, and you're going to have a really, really good time watching this, I think. So
I will give one caveat. There is one scene in this movie. It's not woke at all. There's no woke. There is one scene in this movie that is very awkward and pretty weird, and you'll be like, what is going on right now? Like, what is happening?
But totally.
Once that scene is over, it makes sense to the story. It's not like, okay, they're just trying to inject something into this movie. It makes sense to the story, and then it resolves in an interesting way. But other than that, yeah, dude, you absolutely go see this movie in theaters. 100%. It's not just going to support it in theaters. I think that it lends itself to the big screen in some of the scenes, especially closer to the end of the movie.
Yes.
The final scene of this movie, like, absolutely, dude, it needs to be seen on the big screen.
It's amazing.
And then also the music. I don't think that a home system, unless you have a really nice home theater system, will do justice to the music in this movie. Like, it is loud and bombastic, and then there's like moments where you hear like the Viking chants in the background, and they like kick in places you don't expect it to, and it works for the movie. The music serves the movie really well. So 100% go see this in theaters. And then if you have a really nice home theater system as well, then when it comes out, watch it again. You know, and if any of your freaking friends go, I didn't want to go see it in theaters, make them come over, make them pay you to watch this movie at your house. I'm just kidding. That's weird, but I didn't like.
I mean, you can if you want, but
do what you want. I don't care. It's a free market.
But I'm gonna say this, and this is kind of a bold thing that I'm gonna say here, but I've seen a lot of Viking content, and this might be the best Viking piece of entertainment that we've gotten yet. I think this might be like the top of the bar as far as just like really capturing the culture, the history, the mythology, all of those elements of what is Norse and what is Viking. This film absolutely captured it fantastic way. So yeah, with that being said, that is going to be our thoughts on the Northman. So let us know in the comments below if you've seen it, what you think. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll talk to you all in another video very soon.